live. All right, guys. Hi, and welcome to the Bois podcast. I'm your host, Jaime, and I'm joined with my good friend here, Bruni.
What's up, guys? I'm a English major at Georgia State. I'm also minoring in gender studies. So, yeah.
Nice. And then I'm also joined here with my friend Scooter.
Yo, I'm Scooter.
I'm also joined here with my friend Clubs.
Hey, how's it going?
And finally, my last guest, Ant.
Hello, everybody. Let's go.
Let's go. All right. I guess let's start with our main topic today. What does it mean to be original in the entertainment industry?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I don't think really I mean, after watching that video that you just showed us, like it changes your perspective on like nothing is really original anymore, or even at all. Really, everything's based off of something. Like if it's a movie, it's usually based off of a book, or it's based off of someone's life history. Games can be based off of previous games, or they can even be based off of movies. There's plenty of movie games, but it's lots of stuff that's like you can't really consider original anymore when you think about it.
That's very true. I mean, I think today we're facing like a really kind of like a major problem when it comes to originality, because like there's no more room for like creative freedom. Well, not creative freedom, I would say, but more, since everything's already been talked about and done. It's very hard to have one original idea.
Yeah,
I think like a big part of that is probably the internet, just because you can look up anything now and find out if it's been done before.
True.
I feel like that just kind of puts pressure on people when they're trying to come up with their own stuff.
Why do you think that's a problem though?
I think it leads to like a stagnation in like society.
It can be kind of stale. Like things can get stale.
Yeah, I guess, but is that really an issue? I don't know.
I feel like
some people it can.
Yeah, I feel like if it's like too stagnant, it doesn't allow people to think differently, and it doesn't incorporate. It doesn't like incorporate change into society in a way.
You become society becomes complacent.
Yeah,
true.
Yeah, I see that.
Do you guys think people or ideas and originality has become more stale over time? Because I think it's always like people have always been kind of copying ideas and stuff, and there's really no true originality.
True. I think originality is just being able to copy and transform something.
I feel like originality is kind of like the definition has kind of changed now, because originality is more become like taking something that people have like already seen or like read or played or whatever, and it's basically turned into like putting their own unique twist into it, and like basically that becomes their own like original thing. It's like you couldn't even say it's original. I guess like how we mentioned before, it's more like a unique thing to it. But it's still not really original. Yeah. Like you add your own unique twist to it to make it more interesting to an audience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's kind of like Star Wars in a way. Like Star Wars has a lot of like scenes that are, copied from older films.
Yeah.
But still, like you could say. Well, so for Star Wars, for example, you could say George Lucas got all those ideas from other films, but he still came up with this unique concept himself. And yeah, it was based on everything else, but the final product is still original in a sense.
That's true. He transformed He transformed like his own product, his own creation.
Yeah, because like when you look at Star Wars, like. When they were showing those clips of like the things like the different shots he took to like basically make Star Wars like into its like basically to make the film itself, it's more like shots were copied, but the actual story itself was original.
Yeah, but that's like more in the past where like that wasn't really explored as much. Like those sci-fi themes weren't explored as much. But nowadays, we have like how many Star Wars films out there? We have like 9 Star Wars sequels.
Yeah, 9.
And, like prequels out there. True. Those aren't really as original anymore. And then you have other series that try to copy Star Wars or that sci-fi genre.
So yeah, because like any new sci-fi thing that comes out is kind of compared to Star Wars, but that itself was,
already a copy of somewhere else. Yeah. So I guess the question is: are we running out of original ideas when it comes to like the film industry or like the entertainment industry?
I don't think we're really running out of ideas, because at the end of the day, like everything derives from something. So there's gonna be plenty of people that like get inspired from different, like many people can watch like the same movie and get a different inspiration out of it, like depending on what they get out of the film.
True.
So
Yeah.
it's more of like it depends on the person and like how they take the movie or how they take whatever media they're taking in. And it just depends on how they decide to interpret it and how they decide to put their own, I guess, flavor to it, or if they decide to make something out of it.
Yeah. Well,
I would say I don't think we're running out of ideas necessarily, but I think the same ideas are kind of the ones that make the biggest, the most amount of profits. And so people kind of like the familiarity. That's why we have a lot of like sequels and reboots these days.
Yeah. Do you
It's
think
not because there's no creative ideas, but that's just what's popular.
Do you think like Hollywood's playing like the safe route when it comes to that? Like they're not taking that risk to explore something new. Like they just want to play that safe card and make the profit, that easy profit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like because you can see all these like just from like Hollywood alone, you can see them like rebooting all these movies like back to back to back because it's the safe route and they know it's their money makers.
Yeah.
Money.
I mean, like I get why they do it, but at the same time, it's kind of like me as a person, I kind of wish they would come up with something new because like I'll talk about like the horror movie genre, like. I feel like they're having a really hard time coming up with like new ideas.
That is very true. Actually, I don't remember.
Really do anyways, right?
What'd you say?
What was that?
Even if they try to make something new, it wouldn't really be new, would it?
Yeah, it wouldn't really be new.
No, really, because if you think about like jump scares, right? There's probably going to be a jump scare in there. Is that if you were incorporate a jump scare into like a horror movie, is that original because it's already been done before?
I think that kind of kills the originality. Yeah.
Yeah,
I just feel like you've seen this before.
Yeah, because it's more of like you can add a jump scare in there, but like many horror movies can have a jump scare in it.
Yeah, you're gonna be expecting that jump scare already.
Yeah, after a while, like once you condition yourself to like once you've seen enough horror movies, you kind of get conditioned to be like, oh, there's gonna be a jump scare coming up, and sometimes you can even see it coming.
Yeah.
So it's more of like I think nowadays the real thing for like horror movies is like it's more of the tension now. It's like how you decide to build that tension.
That makes me think because you said like we expect a jump scare, right? So I think maybe when they don't do what we expect, that can count as originality because we like diverting our expectations.
True. So it's a version of our expectations.
No, I agree with that because like a lot of times you go into a horror movie. I mean, one that comes to mind is Midsummer. I thought that was like a really original kind of creative horror movie in a sense. It's not necessarily just horror, but it's also like thriller, I guess, as well. But it just kind of subverted my expectations because I was sort of expecting, a traditional horror movie that we've seen, millions of times before.
True.
But it did something kind of different.
But is
I'm
it
sure
all
that
different
itself,
because I feel like there have been like past like cult movies like that, that have that ending. Like like kind of like Hereditary in a way. That had that ending where it's like kind of it subverts your expectation.
Was Hereditary done by the same person though?
Yeah, I think it was.
I think it was.
Well, in a sense, could you say? Sorry, I was gonna say, could you say that like in that sense, since it's this by the same director, it's basically his original style?
Maybe they.
Ooh.
Yeah, you could say that.
Well, it's his style, but it's still a similar movie. So would you say it's original regardless?
Oh, true.
I guess
if it's made by the same author, like is it
would
original?
You say Star Wars Episode 1 and Episode 2 are original just because they're a different movie?
I don't think you could say like how I was saying. I don't think the films themselves are original. It's more of how the artist or the director in this case decides to add their style to it and make it their own original thing. But it's kind of
right.
It's complicated, really.
No, I think you're right. Like people do that, but then like directors, but then the ones that become popular get like overused by others as well.
Yeah,
and then that becomes the norm for everybody else.
Yeah, because I mean, like, if you really think about it, like, I'm pretty sure later down the line there is going to be like some director that is going to get inspired by Hereditary and Midsummer, and they're probably going to try to make the same thing but with their own twist into it.
Oh, true.
That's very true. That's very true.
I was gonna say, not to get too philosophical here, but I've sort of thought about this before when it comes to humans and how you could sort of say no human is completely unique because we all I don't know, we all share the same kind of emotions and stuff, and we experience different things, but we all experience like, happiness, sadness, all that.
Mhm.
But I feel like we are all unique in a sense because we all have a different life experience and we all get influenced by different stuff. And we all take that and put that together. And that sort of, I guess, forms how we view the world. So everybody sort of does have a unique perspective.
Does a unique perspective
Yeah.
mean that you are original or no?
No, I don't think so.
Let me add on to
Oh,
that. To add on to that point, like, I mean, I don't think like just the human race is original at all, because everybody's always when you're born, your parents are gonna try. Well, most of the time, the parents are gonna try to raise you
Like
with
how they
ideals that they think
true?
that are right, and pretty much what society believes is right.
So
So
they're not
like,
your own ideas, technically.
Yeah, well, not
no,
even society, just
exactly,
like their parents,
just like,
your parents' parents.
Mm.
yeah, pretty much. That's what I'm trying to get at. I just having a hard time explaining it. So pretty much, no one's really original at the end of the day. That's just me. Like
Yeah,
society's not original.
I think society or like people, they can be unique but not original.
but see, I get that how like ideas are passed down from generation to generation,
Yeah, but
and that kind of informs us, but we still have our own perspective.
yeah, we would break out of that mold in a sense. You can have those ideas for generations and generations, but then all of a sudden, you yourself want to change that and break out of that mold, break out of that stereotype.
Yeah, because there's no kid that really goes one for one with what their parents say. Eventually, they stray off the road to like make their own path.
Mhm.
But I think they're influenced by friends and other stuff. So would that still be original?
Yeah, that's not original.
True, because they are being influenced by different things. They're not influenced by
so
themselves.
everything is influenced by something. I think that's the rule.
True.
So
No
you
one
never really
thinks-
original.
Yeah, no one. I mean, you can think for yourself and do things, on your own.
I was
But
gonna
at the end of
say,
the day,
going off of what Rooney said about the philosophical with humans, I think we can all feel like happiness and emotions, and we all have our own experiences, but I think we're not original because if we were original, we couldn't what's the word? I guess sympathize or I guess feel for each other. Because then, if we were original, we wouldn't know what the other person is going through. If they were original,
That's
we
true.
can
That's a
feel
good one.
similar feelings, but we're still
that's
not
a really
original.
smart.
So humans by nature are not original in that sense.
No.
I can understand what you're saying by that.
Because we share a lot of
I feel that.
similar feelings and emotions, but we just have different ways of expressing it or getting it.
That makes
Yeah,
sense.
like the human experience itself is not original,
No.
and so, but that's kind of a good thing because then we can all relate on that level.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
so I think being relatable means you can't be original.
Oh,
That's a good point.
But then, how do you relate that back to like the film industry? Like, so whenever
See, I think that's the thing because like we can say one horror movie made us feel this way, but then another one did as well.
So they both
So
make you feel scared in a sense.
Yeah, so you can say like I remember every time we watch a movie or something, we say, "Oh, I remember from this other movie." We always talk about other movies when we talk about a new movie we watch. So
True, we
yeah.
related to a past experience we had.
But I still kind of differentiate originality and influence. Like, you could say, all right, if there's two horror movies, maybe they're not original because they both just aim to scare you, but they are still original in the sense that there's nothing
one for one.
There's nothing completely like it. Yeah, one for one.
Yeah,
like that
okay.
product combining all its influences is unique.
True.
Original.
I don't think it being one for one means it's original because that's if it was one for one, that would be plagiarism.
That's what I'm saying. That one for one is not original.
Yeah, no, that's like obviously not original, but I don't think it has to be one for one to not count as original or whatever.
So you're saying if something is still heavily influenced by something, let's say like a movie is heavily influenced by a movie that you watched as a child. So if you make that movie, it's not original if you incorporate those elements from that previous movie you watched as a kid.
Yeah, I don't think so.
But I say it is original.
Yeah, I say it is too because like you can transform that in a way, and then create something new.
No, you can create something unique, but And new, but not original.
They're gonna get
Unique and
influenced
new
from
and original
somewhere.
have different definitions, I think.
Would you guys say like song covers are original?
No,
Ooh.
Definitely
Nope.
not.
I would say those are plagiarism, except you're actually like it's not for like monetary gain, so it's just it's just a cover, so you can't say it's original.
Yeah.
A song cover is like whenever someone sings the whole entire thing, the song, right?
Yeah, you're basically just
Yeah.
singing the
Yeah.
one person's song in your own voice, basically.
Oh.
Yeah.
And in a different tone, and sometimes like
Yeah.
different-
Yeah.
What about
You're
using?
adding
Yeah.
something
Let's say
different to it.
so it's not original, but you can't say it's not theirs because they sang it, so it's their voice,
Mhm.
but not original still.
But it's not their original lyrics
No.
or
No.
melody.
Yeah.
Yeah, what lyrics are original, anyways?
True. It could be influenced by
True.
something else. It's kind of hard to tell what is original when it comes to like poems or like lyrics because you don't
I
know
mean,
if someone in the
90
past ever said it before either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like music's like one of the most like hard, like one of the hardest things to like have something original though. I feel like it's one of the hardest areas because there's
Yeah,
it's so
yeah.
many songs that were like, whether it's the beat of the song, whether it's the lyrics, a lot of things are basically taken from other songs and like reused in other people's songs. Whether it's maybe just
Yeah.
But then,
Just
how
like-
do you define like new genres popping up every now and then? Like nowadays we have like I don't know, for instance, like country rap. Like before, that was never really a thing. Like back in the '70s or something.
But see,
But they were
Right.
influenced somehow,
J-
though.
Yeah, I
okay,
guess it is
the
influence.
video. It's like the video we watched or whatever, or you guys watched. I watched the part where they said this movie was brought by two books. Well, it's the same thing. Country and rap, they put the two together.
Yeah, but does combining something not make it like? I feel like
Yeah,
if you
makes
combine
it new.
something, it makes it new and original.
I don't
Because
think- I don't
it's
think
it's never been done before. Those two elements have never been combined before, so it becomes
No,
something
but the
unique.
idea of rapping and then the idea of country come together to make country rap, but I don't think that's original.
yeah, I don't think that's original in a sense because it's,
It's a different genre.
it's a different genre, yeah, but at the end of the day, you're still taking the same elements of country music and the same elements of hip hop music, and then
Yeah.
just making country rap.
Yeah.
Well,
But-
that's like the same thing as like one woman. You take one woman, one man, and you make a child. But you're saying the child's not original?
Yeah, in a way, because like
Yeah.
you're
But it is,
combining
'cause
two DNAs.
Yeah, and making
True.
something completely new, a new.
Yeah, but
Individual.
they're not really. But they have the mom and dad's, DNA
Traits,
and
yeah.
stuff.
They have shared
So it's not
traits.
really-
So
It's not
Right.
really-
Well, yeah. True.
True, but it's not the
But
same mind.
another human with those two genes hasn't existed before in the exact same way. You know.
Hmm.
I mean, unless you talk about siblings, I guess. But
That's true. Like twins, for instance. Are twins
oh,
original?
yeah.
That's for
Oh.
different. That's for a different
True.
debate right there.
that's too
I
much.
guess that would come down to mindsets.
True.
Yeah. I still say they are because they're not all gonna have the same exact thought. They're gonna be influenced by different things.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, then I guess like when it comes to like would you say not being original is a problem, and like today, because like I feel like eventually we're getting more and more to the point where nothing is original. Everything is based on that, right?
I think we are at that point already, and I don't think it's a problem because
Yeah.
it's inevitable.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
But then how does something become like unique after that?
You can't. I mean, you can be unique, but not original.
I think from like an entertainment sense, it's okay, but like it's more of like when you get to the legal stuff is when it gets complicated.
Like the legality of everything.
Yeah, when it comes down to like all the copyright and like, because it all comes down to how much you take, and not even on how much you take. Like it could just be small stuff, and it depends on the person whether they want to go after it or not.
I say I think the whole idea of originality is going to be based on who you ask. Because if you ask someone that was born in like 2010 and they watched like I don't know some movie from some horror movie from that time, that was the first thing they watched, and they're probably not gonna watch anything before that.
That's
Oh.
true.
So then they watch one from like 2019, they'll be like, oh, they copied that movie I watched in 2010.
True.
Mhm.
So for us, like even in that video, he was comparing to all these movies in the past that most of us didn't even know existed.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
we don't think of those movies. We think of other movies. So
That's
it
true.
depends who you ask what's the original one is, what isn't.
True. It depends on like your own generation, like the generation you grew up in.
your own experience, like Rooney
What
said.
Wouldn't this be the same thing like like for food as well? Like food's not really original.
What do you mean?
I
Like
guess. I
like
mean, yeah,
like
I get what you're
brands and all.
saying.
Like the
Like
dishes.
like chip brands and cereal brands and all that.
Oh, okay, that's what you mean. Like Lay's chip versus like
Ruffles
Ruffles or something like that.
Like
Like a potato chip versus a potato chip. It's
Oh,
still a potato chip.
or like the cereal at the at Aldi's or something, you know, like that cereal is like
Ah, I see. So like Coca-Cola
yeah,
versus Big K or whatever.
yeah.
So knockoff
Hey, I
brands,
drink Big K.
knockoffs. I guess knockoffs aren't original in their own like essence. I think.
Hmm.
I feel
But
like knockoffs
what?
are a blatant copy of like a product.
Yeah.
Mm, at what line though do you call something a knockoff or a copy, and at what
Ooh.
line is it original?
I think you
yeah,
can
that's
tell when it's
true.
blatantly a copy. You can just tell.
I
That's a
think a
But
knock,
I
hard
think
thing to define.
I feel
I
like
think
knockoff is like when you get. There's not. I wouldn't say there's a percentage, but you can't really say there's a percentage because it's hard to judge that. But it's like a knockoff feels like it would be something that's like almost one for one of whatever they're trying to copy.
oh,
I feel like
Yeah,
true.
like it's
one for one,
impossible to tell the differences.
yeah, they change like very minute things. Like in this case of like Coke and was it Big K?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Is the change probably is just the logo and maybe a little bit of the recipe. It's probably not even very much. It's just a tiny bit of a change.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Like there's not enough unique ideas in that to
Yeah,
differentiate it.
Yeah, I think when you like look at something and then you can just think of the other product or whatever, then I think, and it's like you can't differentiate it enough. Then that's how you know it's a knockoff.
Hmm.
It also
Well,
depends on what
Ah,
you see. It depends on what you see.
people
Wait, hold on,
can.
Harun.
yeah.
WWE isn't original because they keep going off of like, you know, the same nonsense all the time. You're like,
I mean,
remember
yeah,
they
I
try to
maybe their storylines were never original, but they were unique at the time. But now they're just rehashing the
but
shit.
now they're just trying to like
Right.
redo
I
it.
think
actually the same stories.
it's interesting you brought that up because that kind of reminds me of Marvel. Like when the first Iron Man came out, you could argue that was pretty original for its time.
No,
And
Oh,
the
was it?
first few
Because
Marvel
it was an
movies.
I would understand that
adaptation.
too.
Yeah, I couldn't really consider that being original because it's an adaptation of a comic book, which is already told. Like his story's already been told. They're just making
Right.
a film.
I'm pretty sure like
Well, right.
74% of all what was it 74% of like no 74 out
You
of
say
100 movies
74 out of 100.
are either sequels or adaptations.
This is
Well,
random, but
Well,
go
Yeah,
ahead,
like
go ahead.
like I was saying, like with Marvel, when the first when Iron Man came out, that wasn't original because superhero movies came out before then. It was just
yeah, I meant in the context of cinema.
yeah, I was saying, but like
Obviously, it's adapted, but
so,
no, but like it wasn't. It was unique because no one took like a superhero movie like that series, I guess,
Mhm.
and they didn't make like a whole universe around it.
Didn't
So
make
at
a
the time, that
blockbuster
was
film,
pretty
but
unique, but not original. But now they're rehashing that same like storyline with every
right.
superhero they have. So now it feels like really not original. Even when it didn't, now it really doesn't.
Yeah. I just thought it was interesting to see how like something could start out uh, kind of seen as something original, at least in the terms of like the cinema world, and then turn into something that's like people say is not original. It's just
No.
another superhero movie now. But like 15 years ago, the superhero genre was like only a handful of movies.
true.
So it's interesting.
Would you consider the Alien movies original?
Ooh, maybe.
Alien.
Ooh.
I would think so. I don't think before that there was that many alien. Well, no,
not
there were
not that
alien-esque
many, but there
movies.
was one.
There
But
was,
there was
yes.
one.
Yeah.
there's alien
Mm.
movies, but it's
Because you
I
had the
guess-
Blob beforehand, and that was kind of like a alien movie in a way.
I wouldn't call it original, but I would say it's really different or unique. I guess really different. So
yeah.
I guess that started its own trend of like I
What
guess
about the
alien type movies.
But I'm sure the
what
director,
about
like
the
Ridley Scott, influenced that off of previous things he's seen or read.
Yeah, yeah,
For
no,
Yeah,
what
yeah.
about
I'm
the
pretty
Three
sure
Stooges?
there's something that inspired him to want to make the movie the way he did.
Yeah.
because
Well, yeah,
because
true. Not entirely.
I don't know if I'm right, but I would say Alien sort of is like a slasher, but in space. So it's just like a slasher movie or like a horror movie, but just in space with like aliens.
I think it's more of a creature feature, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah. So something like
Definitely
that. But
creature
see,
feature.
it took a previous genre or idea and then just put its own
Twist
like
on it.
yeah.
Mm.
It leads into the question, like, how do you stop a person from copying another person's work?
That's impossible.
I don't think you can do it. It's not possible. Yeah.
Well, then
All
what
our
about?
minds are
I feel like it
very-
is possible because of copyright laws, right? The copyright laws
I mean,
prevent like people from blatantly copying someone's work.
Yeah, no, you can't blatantly copy someone due to copyright, but I mean, you can't stop someone from
Taking
blatantly
that,
being
yeah.
inspired because we're all inspired.
Yeah.
subjectively.
Okay.
Sure.
See, I think that's kind of the problem with copyright laws is like we're having this discussion about originality and it's so subjective on what we think is original or not. But
Sure.
copyright laws like try to put like a hard line on what is and what is not original.
Mhm.
Like one example I really don't like, I'm pretty sure you can all agree, is like on YouTube or Twitch, you know, you can't play any music.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
And because it's just immediately copyright stricken, but it's sort of like kind of what is the point of that? Like, is that really preserving originality?
I don't
At
think
that
it's
point-
preserving originality. I think it's preserving profits and like lawsuits
Yeah, I think
against them.
they
Yeah.
do that. They do that on
Advertising.
Twitch and YouTube for profit because they're gaining money. Well, they assume that they're getting money because they're playing their music, which is obviously
Yeah.
wrong. That's the part
Yeah.
that's fucked up. But
Yeah.
Like,
so that's
unless-
what they assume.
unless you're like literally like like making a video or like making like a whole stream just like playing their music and there's nothing else happening, I feel like
Mm-hmm.
there's no need for the copyright laws in that sense. I feel like if you really have an issue with it, it should come down to like putting the artist and the title of the song in there, and that should be like enough to give them recognition so people can go and at least look at what their work came from.
Okay, but let's say like
Yeah.
this. But let's say like this. Let's make it a scenario here. Let's say you have an underrated artist, right? He has maybe 200,000 views monthly,
Mhm.
right? And you use his music, and your video gets 10 million views. At that point, is it fair to use his music video in your work?
I think. Well, first of all, I think people are watching the 10 million viewed video for that song. The song is just like the extra
True.
like the extra layer of it. If someone watches it and likes it, I'm sure they would look into it and find the person. But majority of people probably don't even notice that,
Mhm.
so they wouldn't. So I think that's the thing. That's the thing that's messed up because then everyone
But
assumes.
in a
that-
way, you're taking money away from the artist because like he's not getting paid for
Aren't
being
you
used.
promoting them?
No, but the video wasn't about the song. It was about something else. They just used the song.
But if it's used in there and you make monetary money, like you make money off of that video, but you don't give a cent to the artist, is that fair?
Okay, I guess
Because
I guess
that
that's
artist
different, but I'm
made
saying, like,
that, he made his own song.
well, if the song takes a big part of the video, then I think there should be some like I guess credit or
Yeah,
you
credit.
should give like profit to them too. But that's the thing with like YouTube. If the song is in there for 5 seconds and then they can just take copyright, that's not how this should work.
Sure.
I would argue though that would just lead to like promotion of that lesser known artist if someone bigger is using their like. I want to use an example actually because
Okay.
like a real life example I've seen. There's this K-pop group called BTS. I don't know if you've heard of them, but
No, I never heard of it.
sometimes no, they're pretty good. You should check them out. But
Yeah, they're lit.
sometimes on Twitter, one of the members of the group, they'll like tweet this song from like a lesser known artist, right?
Mhm.
And then that gets them a bunch of views and more popularity. But I've also seen it on the other side where a lesser known artist will blatantly like plagiarize their music and steal their beats to try and get more views.
Mhm.
And people, don't like that. So I actually don't know what my point was. I guess it's
I
just
guess your
interesting.
point is like
No,
whenever
yeah,
someone
no, it's-
copies, whenever you copy someone's like, or whenever you copy someone's like product or creation, you don't really have a
Yeah.
problem with it. But whenever someone copies your own, and I guess it becomes a problem at that point for you.
No, I think his point was if someone with influence uses your art or your work, you can get the benefit from it just because of their influence.
Yeah, I think that's where I was going.
And then people who don't have that influence and they're like jealous or they want your influence, and they use your style or your thing to copy it and then get easy clout from it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Something like that. So yeah, that's with the whole copyright in YouTube with the 10 million views. So if they use that lower, like that lesser known artist's song, they're getting some kind of recognition from it. So in the end, they're kind of getting profit in a way. Maybe not directly, but I don't know. That's the
Wouldn't you say that they're both in both ways? They're getting like recognition for it though, because if the lesser known artist uses like a popular artist's song or melody or something like that, right?
Oh yeah.
Wouldn't they also be getting recognition if someone listens to that lesser known artist's music?
Well, I mean, yeah, that's the thing. It can be like
it can work both ways technically.
I think that's different because it's not the same type of media. Because one's a video, one's a song. Like if you put someone's song in your song, that's different. But if you put someone's video in your, like if you put someone's video in your movie, like it's different. You know what I mean? Like you can't use you can't copy the same media in the same media because then it's just that's literally copying.
So okay. I'm kind of confused what you mean by that.
Are you basically saying like if you depending on which media you use, like it can be okay? Like if you were basically taking like a media of like music and then putting it into like a video, it's weird.
Oh, do you mean like if you're making a fan music video of a song or something, like that could be deemed original because there's not an existing music video for that song?
I think in a way, yeah, because so like with music, if you take just the instrumental of a song and then you sing your own lyrics,
oh yeah.
That can be copyright. Yeah, well even then, yeah, a sample, but the sample has to be given permission for it.
Right.
But I think if you make money off of it or anything, then that's copyright. Like the same with like a video. Like let's say you're playing a game and then you record it. If someone talks over it and then someone else talks over it, but they use the same video, that can also count as copyright because someone made that video, I guess, and then it's their property.
So do you think like copyright laws should be more or less strict in a way?
I think the way things are going, they should be less strict.
Yeah.
Because more people they just love inspiration and they love using other people's stuff, and a lot of people like.
Because in a sense, like copyright is kind of preventing some content from being created.
True.
Oh.
I feel like copyright is kind of preventing originality in a sense.
It's like I understand people want like to be recognized and earn profits based on what they've created. But at the same time, it's when by copywriting it and like not allowing anyone to like access that music or any of that media, you're kind of limiting what people can work off later on and get inspired off of, or like show what they were inspired from.
I agree with that. I think it should be like less strict. I feel like if you lessen the restrictions on copyright laws, it would create more originality almost, because at that point people can experiment more with how they can like transform that medium or like that art.
Yeah, I think less copyright would be better overall.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Any final closing thoughts on the originality, I guess, and like what your take is on it?
I would say my take on originality is, most films are made from other films. That's kind of like proven by how.
I think for me, just anything ever is based off of anything something.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what I kind of meant.
So like I know I've always said this. I don't think anything's ever original, and I think I still stick by that.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that point. It's just like if you go back and like you do research based on like what people like what different medias that have been created, like whether it's a movie, a song, or a game, there's always something that inspired it, and all they do is add a twist to it to make it interesting for other viewers.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah,
still not original.
But I feel like
I think the key. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I feel like adding those twists eventually you keep on adding those twists over the years, right? Eventually, if you take those twists, you can make something different from that, in a sense.
No, because I'm gonna counter that because then you're saying because you keep adding twists, but then those twists came from somewhere else, so it's just a bunch of copies.
True, it's just a cycle of just being reused and reused.
Yeah, it's a constant cycle.
Well, that's what evolution is, right?
Yeah, I think all these twist copies can make evolution and make something new, but it's not gonna be original.
It's never gonna be original.
I can
Yeah, I don't
agree
think
with
anything can ever be original.
I mean, like you guys, this is the main point. Like you can just get something and then make it your own kind of, but it's really not your own. You can just make it unique. I guess that's just like the main thing. Like
Yeah, I guess
something
really at the end of the day, you
Can't make it
can't say
original.
things are original. Everything's just unique.
you
Yeah.
just gotta like get something
Mm.
that's kind of different in a sense, but it's not different. Maybe something that catches the audience by surprise.
Mhm.
Something they haven't
Yeah,
seen
the
in a
whole
while.
birthday expectations thing.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, I think you need to put enough of I would say your own influence, but that I mean like different. You need to combine enough different ideas to make something that seems original, and then it could like be appreciated. But if you
Mhm.
take just one idea and try to recreate that, then people can easily compare that to that original idea.
Hmm.
That's very true.
So yeah, it's just about putting enough of yourself into something to make it original in a sense,
Mm.
even though it's
I
completely
think
not.
I think we also might be looking too much into it because in the end, yeah,
True.
nothing can really be original, but to someone it is. So, and
I,
that's all that really matters.
yeah,
Like
I don't think it's a bad thing that nothing's original. I mean, it's just
that's just life.
it's kind of impossible not to.
Yeah,
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 I think it's just
I think
life.
it's original to life at this point.
yeah. It's just how ideas evolve and form. They come from something before it.
Hmm.
So, what are your key takeaways?
I just think at the end of the day, like nothing's really original. It's everything derives from something. People get inspired off of everything, and it all comes down to just how you make it unique yourself.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I mean, I would just use a different definition for it. I would say we all get our ideas from somewhere, but at the end of the day, that doesn't mean that an idea still can't be original because you're still taking other ideas that
Mhm.
you've been influenced by and creating something new and original. But that's just my opinion.
What about you, Scooter?
All right. At the end of the day, originality doesn't equal enjoyment. So enjoy what you like.
What about you, Ant? What's
Chuck?
your key takeaway?
So I think Rooney and Clubs already said the most important stuff, but I have to agree that at the end of the day, all we can really do is try to make things unique in our own way, and you know, that's probably about it. But nothing's really original. So yeah.
So, what about you, Jaime? What are some of your key takeaways?
I'll say my key takeaway is like nowadays, not many things are original because there's such a saturation in the market, I guess, or the industry of everything's kind of already been done. So it's really hard to be original nowadays. But I still think there are some original ideas out there that just haven't been explored yet, and it's just waiting for someone to find those ideas. That's my key takeaway.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm sure in 20 years we'll see some new franchise pop up that the new generation thinks is pretty original, but we'll be like, well, back in our day we had this and this. It's just based on people's perspective.
I feel like in 20 years' time, we'll see a movie or something, and we'll say, "Oh wow, I never thought that this could have been made." I think there is
Yeah,
still room for originality. It's just getting lesser and lesser each year that we go on. Well, that's been the Horse Boys podcast. Thank you for your time. You guys have a nice day.